Welcome to the What I Wish I Knew After Pregnancy Loss podcast. I am your host, Shana Southern. I am an angel mum, a rainbow mum, a pregnancy loss practitioner, and trauma-informed coach. I created the Institute of Healing Through Pregnancy Loss out of my own experience with loss in the hopes to provide understanding and healing, educating people on pregnancy loss, and creating more women or men in trained support roles. In this podcast, I hope to shed light on what I wish I knew in relation to pregnancy loss, opening up the conversation, breaking the stigma, and bringing real-life stories plus guest experts. Thank you for being here with me today, and let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to the podcast, the intersection of pregnancy loss, fertility, trauma, and purpose, and having the conversations that should have been happening all along. Today, I have with me Laetitia Felix. Laetitia is a fertility mindset coach and holistic therapist who became a mum of one at 40 after a 4-year journey through unexplained infertility, including 3 ectopic pregnancies and a chemical pregnancy. She now supports women through fertility struggles and pregnancy after loss using a whole woman, mind, body, soul approach. Through emotional healing, mindset coaching, trauma release, and holistic therapies, Laetitia helps women uncover blocks, process grief, and restore connection to their bodies, bringing clarity, calm, and hope back to the conception journey. Thanks for joining us, Laetitia.
Thank you so much for having me. Very honored to be here.
You're so welcome. I'm so grateful that you're here and that we've made the connection. You've had obviously a few different experiences through your conception journey. Did you want to share your story and what brings you to where you are today?
Yes, of course. I try to keep it as clear as possible. But I realized today, before we came on, that it would have been 2025. So that was 10 years ago when I started more or less my journey of conception. So I was in my mid 30s at that point. And honestly, I was so naive because I really believe so I've met my partner quite late. So it was, although I knew I was in my mid 30s, it never came to my mind it would be an issue to conceive. So yeah, here I go. I just thought, okay, I stopped the pill a few years before. I also had a diagnosis of adenomyosis, which is the sister of endometriosis. But I was dealing with that. So despite that, I didn't actually think anything. So when we decided to conceive, I didn't even do anything. I just thought, oh, it's just going to happen. But actually, it did happen. I got pregnant within 6 months. So very quick and easy. The joy and everything lasted very shortly, but I was the only time I'd say, because as we know, pregnancy after loss, then it's never the same when you see that pregnancy positive test. But that was the only first time and only time that I was celebrating pregnancy, even though it just happened. So that was amazing. But yeah, unfortunately for me, I didn't know what ectopic pregnancy was, but it worked out that I started bleeding after, so it would have been around 6 weeks, 6 or 7 weeks, 6 weeks for the first time. I had a bit of pain, but nothing really major. So I thought maybe this is some woman bleed. So I went to get it checked. And this is where the whole thing started. It just went from the joy, the naivety of everything of pregnancy to be in a hospital, and that was horrible. So basically, I had an ectopic on the left fallopian tube, and what happens with ectopic is you can either be treated with expectant management, which is pretty much like miscarriage, where you just wait and see if your body will actually release it. But then you can also have medication, methotrexate, which is a very strong medication. I think they give that to cancer patients as well as a chemotherapy. So it's a very strong medication which gets rid of the pregnancy abruptly. And then the third is an operation. It's just to make, in case woman needs to bring awareness to this one. I had to have the medication twice. So this is, you don't even know what's happening. You have to be in hospital forever. You have to keep on taking blood tests, check. And they just dropped that also your health is in danger. It's actually it could be life-threatening case scenario. For me, thankfully, it wasn't. But yeah, ectopic pregnancy can be life-threatening as well. So basically, I started that in May, which I had the loss. And I think the whole thing lasted until August. So it's quite a few months. I had to take 2 doses of that medication. So yeah, I think the recovery from that was the hardest as well. Emotionally, but physically, completely changed everything for me. My digestive, my energy level. Like I didn't put together straight away the has. I thought it was because of the loss and I didn't think that the medication, I didn't read into it originally. I wasn't that aware at the time. Yeah, basically, it changes everything in terms of how I was feeling physically. They tell you to wait about 3 months to try to conceive again. I still wanted to conceive. And I think this is part of my story prior to conceiving, having my daughter, is that the whole way through, I just wanted to keep going. This is it. I can't stop. I have to keep going. I didn't really process it emotionally. I just kept on going. I had a chemical pregnancy in that same year, but I would have waited 6 months after. So it was about 5, 6 months after the ectopic. At that point, I'm starting to wonder what is happening with my body. What is wrong with me? I wasn't talking about it much, but this is when I decided to take tests and obviously do the whole fertility thing. So this went for about 6 months. Check all the best fertility doctors as well. I did the normal NHS in UK, like blood test, but then I also went with private because I was not getting much answers because everything seems to be normal in terms of the blood test. When I went to do my AMH level, they said you've got very low AMH, so you've got very low level of eggs left, and low egg quality as well. I was like, okay, that I was broken at that. I remember that day leaving it was a private office, like doctors, and leaving that day was like my whole world crashed down because I always knew in my heart, and I can even say to this day, I always knew I would be a mom. It's like something was telling me, you will be a mom. But at that point, you're like, maybe I just got it completely wrong. So yeah, that was really like completely confused to what to do. So I remember the doctor told me, if I was you, I'd do IVF. I do IVF. That's your only option. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing with IVF, but for me, I was a bit shocked that we're not trying to find what's the unexplained thing they're telling me. I don't like talking about, because now when I speak about language, it's very important how we speak about what our body or everything, but I don't like to use the word infertility. But that's what they gave me as diagnosis. It's unexplained. The ectopic can happen or cannot happen. I carried on having 2 more ectopic. So that same year I had no, sorry, that was about a year after the chemical and then another year after. So each year I would have an ectopic. And what happened is that after the diagnosis and after really trying to put my thoughts together, I decided to like just go and see a naturopath because my digestive was really messed up. She explained me then that the dosage I've had for those medication really would have done that. So I really reset everything. So it really brought me awareness to what I put in my body. I've changed everything, what I was taking, my supplements, my diet. I did a whole cleanse as well of my liver because it was all messed up due to the medication and probably other stuff as well from prior conceiving as well. So this was really beneficial. I did also acupuncture. So my body was looking better and better. I could feel my cycle was getting better as well because having adenomyosis is very heavy bleeding. It's really heavy. So the acupuncture was helping with that. But yet I kept on having, as I said, ectopic pregnancies at that point. And I just wouldn't process it. I kept on going. And it was always on the left side as well. Something was telling me that IVF wasn't for me. For some reason, I went for an appointment with my partner. And actually, there was more risk to have ectopic with the IVF, they were telling me. So I thought, well, what is the point for me to do it then? But then all in all, I just thought, no, I just feel like that's not for me, but I couldn't really understand why. Now I understand that was my intuition talking to me, but yeah, so throughout that whole time, so it was about 3 years of that. It was really obviously grief, sadness, lost. I feel like all those doctors, hospitals, everything, all the things, it became very medical. And the more I was going into trying to investigate, the more I think the power was taken away from me. The power, my own power, my own intuition, my own connection with myself. I came to a point after 3 years where I was completely disconnected. My relationship was it wasn't broken at all, but it was just disconnected to everything we were talking about was conception. As it just becomes like obsession every month. Social network was going down. I was not going out much either. So yeah, really staying in my bubble, and it was really like hard. And I thought after 3 years, I realized that I need to do something. This is not me anymore. I'm not even a negative person. I always see the glass full, half full. But at that point, everything was becoming negative. Everything was. So I decided to take a break, and I thought I need to reconnect with myself. I need to do something. I don't know what yet, but I need to do something. This is when everything got transformed for me. I was not giving up by any means trying to get pregnant. I just, not even saying trying to get pregnant, I was not giving up, sorry, conception ideas of becoming a mom or anything like that. But I just thought I need to come back as me. Because if I'm coming into a pregnancy the way I am today, this is a disaster. I was a shadow of myself. So I took some time to really breathe. We went on vacation. We decided not to talk about conception for a long time. We decided just to focus on us as a couple and on myself. I did a lot of energy healing. I finally stopped and processed all the grief I was carrying for the past 3 years. And that is such a heavy luggage to carry. It's not even just the luggage. It's just not even just the grief, but also all the unworthiness, the guilt, the shame, the feeling broken, all of that I was carrying. But because I kept on going to try and do better next time. I thought that was my way of being strong, and I thought that was my way of, yeah, of tackling that challenge, that battle, because I just don't like to give up. So anyway, I work on my mindset. I work on my emotion, process all the emotions. I had some help, obviously. At that point, I asked for help. That's when I discovered hypnosis, emotional freedom technique, over energy healing. I did a womb healing because as women, we carry so much emotion in our womb. And that was quite transformational as well. I'm trying to think what else I did, but yeah, I basically reconnected with myself, my intuition, a lot of mind body connection, and all that. I forgot to say as well that on the last ectopic, it was my third at that point. The doctors said, we have to remove your tube. And I said, okay. But yet I knew that my level of HCG was really low. I thought, is it my life? Is because I need it physically? Or, and his answer was, oh, you've had 3 ectopic. How many more do you want? That's a no-brainer. I thought it was so insensitive. I felt it was very insensitive to say that. And at that point, I said, well, if my life is not in danger, if I can, I will take the night to think about it. I don't like to take hasty, quick decisions like that. So I didn't go in the theater that night. I had a long thought about it. That's where I decided to listen to my intuition a little bit more. And that was just before taking the break. I decided to not go for the operation. But the 2 last ectopic, I did need the medication. Thankfully, it was expectant management. So the pregnancy was raised. And the year after so a year later, which would have been the same month, October, I conceived my daughter from that same tube they were going to remove me, the left tube, naturally, without any explanation. I know deep down what happened. Everything had to happen. And at that point, I realized that when you look back, it's really hard. But when you look back, and from doing I also had baby spirit communication, because I really strongly believe in communicating and connecting with your baby. Even if you had a miscarriage or ectopic, I really believe that they are still there, and it's very important to connect to them. So I feel like, sorry, I've lost what I was saying at that point. I've lost it.
You were talking about how, well, you circled back around to, they were saying that they were going to take out your left fallopian tube, and then that was the tube that you ended up conceiving with. So I
Yeah.
don't know if that helps.
No, yeah. So basically, I know that all the work I did helped in my conception. And yeah, what I was about to say was, I realized looking back that the journey was actually happening for me. It wasn't happening to me. And I know it's very hard to see it that way under that lens, but I was becoming the person I've become today by going through all that challenges and the changes I've had to make with my mindset, with my emotions, with my way of dealing with things. Sorry, that was a long story.
No, it's, I really appreciate you for sharing what you did and in the length that you did as well, because there's so much value in hearing the rawness of your story. I actually had something that I was going to say and it has left me. Oh no. Yeah. Okay. So what I was going to say was essentially, like you said, it is a really hard thing to believe that it is happening for us, but really what's happening in all of that is it's a journey back home to you. Like it's making you really learn. And you, like you said it a few times, you felt like that you had lost your power. You felt like you had lost almost like your voice, you get told, if you get told something over and over for a period of time, you just start to believe, okay, I've just got to listen. The doctors are telling me this thing, okay, I'll just give in. And you feel like you lose a sense of yourself, you lose the power that you're just giving it away to them, you're giving it over to them.
Yeah,
But it's that journey back home to yourself where you took that time and you're like, no, I actually do need to listen to me. I need to take time and come back to me and understand what it is that I need and listen to my intuition and start advocating for myself. And as hard as it is to go through that journey, to have that strong sense of self and intuition and connection with yourself, like at the end, like that's huge. That's such a valuable place to end at.
yeah. And I think when now I talk to my clients or any friends trying on that path, really the heart, the mind, body, but also your heart, right? Mind, heart, body connection. It's so important because we are, I don't want to say we are just a number, but sometimes when you are dealt with in the medical world, and medical has its space, I'm not against medical, but I'm just saying that they tend to give you the same options. They don't always try to figure out what's happening for you, what's going on in your body. It's not really depth for us anyway. For me, there was no deep investigation. The best investigation I've had is when I went to see my naturopath, who really trying to see what's going on in my body. But other than that, we are giving so many different options. Online, you go online and it's overwhelming. It is overwhelming. Unless you are really the answers. What I've learned for sure is that the answers are within you. Of course, you need help, external help, but you will know inside what's right, what's wrong. And that's why I had strong feeling that IVF wasn't for me. And I feel like we should be given that option. Okay, see what is right for you. Maybe explore this option, and then if that doesn't work, then it shouldn't be IVF just because you have low AMH and you are turning 40 soon. That was the answer I was given. You're almost 40, you're having losses, and you've got low AMH. That's enough. Yeah, IVF. And IVF is such a complex, challenging journey. So you shouldn't be thrown like that just as a, do you know what I'm saying? It feels, yeah, if you go back to your own knowing, you definitely will be able to filter through all of this and get back to yourself and know this is right for me or this is not right for me. And even for medical, I think people that you choose, who is your tribe, who's going to support you. If someone doesn't resonate with you, and it's okay to change. It's nothing wrong with, it's not personal. But if for me, I feel like the people that are going to support you, whether they are therapists, whether they're naturopath, fertility coach, doctors, you have the control. We don't have much control in terms of fertility when that happens, but there are certain things we can control. We can control who we're choosing and all of those things, or what supplement we're choosing, what method we're using in terms of, even if it changes, it doesn't always stay the same. Like we could use natural conception today for 6 months and then we change it in 6 months, but it is your choice. Unless obviously that's medically you have to have it, and that's a different story. But even then, I'm sure you can maybe find your own tribe as well, to have the best support you can have. I
Yeah.
think sometimes like we're giving our power away. I feel like it's been chosen for us. Like even that doctor that told me, okay, we're going to the theater. I've got one in half an hour. Let's go. Like, hold on a second. Do I have a say? Do I have a say? I wasn't going into any emergency, so that was a different story That would have been a different story if that was the case, if I was like my life was threatened. But that was just a question of, oh, that's the logical option for you. Yeah.
It's hard to discern that for yourself when you feel like so much of your power has been taken away because for so long nothing has gone right. So you start to really question your decision making and you question your body and you question, okay, maybe that is the right thing. But just to know that it's okay to for you to take time, take some space, and really lean into what it is that you feel is right for you in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
And like you said, it is important to have a supportive team around. If you feel like it could be just one doctor, or it could be a doctor, it could be a naturopath, it could be a fertility specialist, that all see you and hear you, not just consider you as a number, or
Yeah.
I can just squeeze you in here.
And it's not a one size fits all
Mhm.
for fertility. We know that. It's individual, it's unique. It's so yeah, I completely agree. When you know someone sees you and really cares for what you're going through, and also really for me, like I am a solution seeker. I need to finances, and I know you don't always maybe finances you want, and that's what was so frustrating because when they tell you it's unexplained, you're like, okay, so what do I do now? Unexplained. I'd rather have something and at least I have a solution, but when it's unexplained, it's so vast. But you might as well have no answer. There is a no answer. Yeah, you have to have that person that really cares enough to, yeah, investigate, really figure out what can possibly be disaligned. It's a question of alignment, isn't it? It could be your mindset, it could be your hormones, could be your emotional. Because like after going myself, after 4 losses, I mean you're on survival mode, and whether you, it's not about oh don't stress and pregnancy will happen. The stress is within your body, whether you want it or not. It's not a question of, oh, I'm going to go on holiday. I hate when we know we don't want to hear that, but it's a question of the stress has built up in your body because you've gone through the grief, you've gone through the loss, or you've going through an unexplained diagnosis, or you're going through IVF. All of those are stressful. And so your body is in survival mode, right? Yes, it's very important for me to look at the holistic part of the woman, not just, as you said, a number or just one size fits all.
Yeah, and it's a topic that I'm really passionate about bringing to the fore as well is, that we can't just think our way into healing. Like it has to be, like you said, you can't just go on the holiday or you can't just be happy, just think positive, just try not to stress. Like it's not just a way of thinking, it has to be a physical response in your body as well. Yes, the mindset piece is very important, but the physical, somatic support, the way that we nourish our body and then we nourish our nervous system is just as important. And I think that is something that is missing when we go into like traditional medical sort of systems for our support. They will just potentially take a blood test and say, oh, yeah, you can try again, you can go again. And even yourself, that doesn't serve you just to keep going, just to keep pushing. You need to take that space. You need to take a step back and go, I need to actually not just go on the holiday. You need to actually look inside and figure out what you need to do physically, emotionally to start healing the trauma, start healing the grief, start healing that survival response that your body's in.
Yeah, 100%. But also, what I also learned is that, so basically, as being, we are energy, and all our emotions are energy. We are keeping them in our body. If it's not processed, they are getting trapped in our body. And I've learned even in our womb, as I said earlier, keeps so much emotion, unprocessed emotion. And we think about it, the womb is where we are growing our baby, right? It's about clearing that. So yeah, I'm the first one to talk about emotions, energy, and really the processing of it. And but there's the other thing is our subconscious is very powerful, and we don't always understand that. But is when I talk about mindset, I don't say necessarily, oh, you have to stay positive. It's not about being, well, it is about positivity, but this is not just it. When I talk about mindset, I talk about it's the lens through which we see our reality. Subconscious is, 95% of our mind, our brain. So we talk about past experience, we talk about our belief, the neural system, but it's also like our past trauma becomes belief. So if you keep having losses, or you've witnessed losses possibly, or you've heard things in your childhood that your mom kept having miscarriages, whatever it might be, you could have what I call a program going in the background in your mindset. I'm saying I'm never going to get pregnant, or I'm always going to have losses, or I'm too old. How many times do we hear that? I was almost getting told this in the doctor's thing. You are 40. So this runs in your background unless you are processing it and you are changing your narrative. That it's going to rule your reality. It's going to be the leader. Your body's going to follow what your mind says. That's what I mean. It's very important. The emotional, number one, energetic, emotional, but as important as well, number two, is the mindset and the subconscious. You could be self-sabotaging yourself. You might not even know what's going on in the background. You might not know that you feel you're unworthy of becoming a mom because XY reason, or you are, no matter what, you feel you're too old, or no matter what, you feel like it's not going to happen. And your conscious mind wants to, but your subconscious is telling you no. And these are all things that needs to be nervous system regulation and belief rewiring has to be done in my mind anyway. I see that all the time, my clients as well.
One in 4 pregnancies will result in miscarriage. 1 in 8 women will experience infertility. 1 in 100 women will experience recurrent miscarriage. And 1 in 160 births end in stillbirth. Have you been wanting to make a difference in the lives of women or men who have experienced pregnancy loss because you can see so many suffering in silence, but you just don't know how? Collectively, we can change how bereaved parents can access mental, physical, and emotional support after their experience. There is a lot of women with unhealed trauma, and there is a huge gap in the current support system when it comes to bereaved parents' recovery after loss. There are too many women and men suffering in silence. The Pregnancy Loss Practitioner Certification is a worldwide, one-of-a-kind program that gives you proven methods designed for healthcare professionals, medical staff, midwives, nurses, doulas, birth workers, coaches, and angel parents alike. The Pregnancy Loss Practitioner Certification is bridging that gap. It will give you a proven support structure to follow and education specific to pregnancy loss, created by a lost mum. It is creating more education specifically for loss so that you can enhance your service and become the point of difference. Or you can create the support that you so desperately needed in your healing after loss. This is the next level of growth and expansion you have been searching for. So does this sound like something that you have been searching for? Let's explore this more together. You can head to the episode show notes where you'll find the program application, or direct message me on Instagram and let's open up the conversation in how you can use this education. You have a gift, and I look forward to supporting you and witnessing you bring your gift to the world, healing and transforming women's lives. Yeah, it's like you said, it's 95%. Like our subconscious is like a big supercomputer that's running in the background. It's got all of the software that's
I
pretty
like
much,
that.
yeah, it's been programmed since birth. It remembers every face that we've ever seen. It remembers every emotion that we've ever felt, every experience that we've ever gone through. And so a lot of what we end up, like you said, what we end up living out is a result of our subconscious. And until we bring awareness to it, until we start to choose to rewire it, to reprogram it, it just keeps running. That program in the background just keeps running. But we can change the software
Yeah,
in
that's the
those
good news.
moments.
Yeah, that is the good news. It's not, this is it. You don't have to stay that way. I think it's first, number one is, what is your inner voice telling you? What is the narrative going in your back, in your mind? And it's about, at the end of the day, it's about feeling safe, right? And I feel like your body doesn't feel safe if in the background your mind is shouting this, you're not going to get pregnant, or maybe you've had trauma in the past, you had losses, and it's a protection also mechanism. So it's about bringing back the safety, emotional safety. And yeah, it can start as well in the mind, in the
Mm.
subconscious, to really, it's very transformational when you do that. And it's just that, yeah, you do need, you might know what's happening, but you don't always know, right? You don't always know, this is my block, this is my, it has to be, you need to ask for help. So that's okay.
Yeah, because we
We
can
all,
quite.
whether it's for fertility, for money blocks, for anything, like the
Mm.
subconscious works the same way. But as we talk about fertility, I think it's so important to address that too.
Yeah. And when you're caught up in your own conscious way of thinking, it's very hard to believe that that there's anything else. Like you can't bring that awareness unless you've got someone on the outside of you that can say, I can see this happening and help you start to really process what's going on. But there was a few things you said at the beginning where you were obviously going through having to take the medication, and you said that it was a long process, like a long sort of drawn out process of having to take that a couple of times. How did you, I know at the beginning stages you didn't really, you just kept pushing, like there was, you didn't give yourself the space to start to process it. What started to work for you when you did take the time? What were some things that you started to do? You started to listen, obviously, to yourself. But I guess if there's someone listening in today, what's something that they could maybe start doing to start listening to what's happening inside of them?
Yeah, I think it was two things, right? Because when I took the, as I said, when I took the medication originally, I was listening to my body signals. Obviously, it was pretty obvious because I had loads of different. Your body communicates with you all the time. So at that point, I had all the physical symptoms. I had rash, I had digestive problems, I had headaches happening. I had all different random. I even had asthma, I think, at some point, but just like randomly. And I thought, okay, this is my body's telling me something at that point. So listen, your body is your ally. It's not there to, and the symptoms might not be pleasant, but this is just like the first thing, investigate, see what's happening. So that wasn't the emotional side of it. That was the first part, which I've done, was the physical part. And I asked for help because I really didn't know what was going on. And that's when my naturopath helped me massively on this. I think I'm not obviously specialized in anything physical in terms of, I'm not like in the physical side of things, as such as doctors, naturopath, or even like nutritionists. But I always tell my client, first thing, check your cycle, listen to your body. Yeah, it's not just the blood test, because the blood test doesn't always say everything. Sometimes it's quickly said, oh yeah, everything is all right, but you're actually on the edge of that bracket. So really read into it and see someone that actually is holistic, I would say, for the physical side. Your cycle talks to you as well. It's not normal to have painful period, heavy period, PMS. It's not, or like short phases. So all of that needs to be taken in consideration, I would say, even before anything. And that's just the physical part I'm talking. Look at what everything you put in your body. So I went from like detox, checking what I put in my hair, on my face, the product I'm using in the house, and the cleaning product, everything. So that would be that. But then after that, I think the first thing I was doing once I've taken a break is understanding that I didn't need to rush. It's okay to stop for a second, as you said, and go inwards. So have a pause. And a lot of time when I try to do, when I was thinking of that, or if one of my clients would say, well, yeah, but that I'm wasting time. I can't do that. But you are rebuilding yourself, okay? You're not giving up by any means. You are resetting. It's like a reset button. And it's either you carry on in which way you are, or you are actually stop for a second and look at what's happening. So for me, it's all mind connection. So the practices that I could suggest, obviously meditation, but it's not for everyone. Breathing technique is it's very good, just like breathing. It also calms the nervous system. I give lots of different tasks. I meet the client where they are in my practice. So some would be more into visualization, some are more into meditation, some are more into hypnosis. Yoga is very good for you as well in terms of mind-body connection. And so, yeah, this is what I started basically having a break, stop everything. And then I worked on the mindset. No, sorry, the next thing I did was process. So for me, process emotionally, it means not bury it, but actually acknowledge what it is that we are feeling, let it out. And I know it hurts and I know it's not pleasant, but the emotions are also not there to hurt you in terms of it's an emotion. It's telling you what it's not aligned or what's happening inside your body or in your mind, in your heart. So it's about acknowledging it and validating it. I practice emotional freedom technique. So that's the tapping technique. And most of the time, you realize once the emotion has been validated and aware, and you bring awareness to it, it's very much easier to release it then after that. It's so, yeah, stop and process the emotions. For me, that was key. I realized 3 years of running and rushing and being pressed by time, the clock's ticking, eventually it catches you up anyway. And I was still getting no results. So I thought I might as well try. You keep doing the same thing over and over again and you're not getting the result. Surely you need to change the method. Yeah, for me, processing is definitely the emotion is the first thing that I would do. And I also include womb healing. Yeah. And then it's all about, and if you need time to grieve, more time, but actually grieve, because I've met women as well that didn't, like me, didn't give themselves time to grieve or process, because they kept on going to work, rushing, or not being alone, not giving themselves time. So yeah, I think that, and growth doesn't always happen, doesn't have to be perfect. It also happen in the mess or in the grief, in the sadness, and in all the emotions. It's still growth. So yeah, that they are the main thing I would say in terms of stop for a second, go inwards, and process all your emotions. Because, yeah, so I could go on forever in terms of that, but I will stop on that in terms of that question.
No, that's okay. It's really good to hear because I've heard so many women who have pushed and then finally took time to stop and had said to me they wished they were given that permission a long time before. So we're not taught how to process emotions. We're not taught how to feel the emotions, how to move through them, how to physically help ourselves as well, how to start nourishing our physical body as well as our emotional and mental body. And like you said, the womb healing is so important to potentially a path to explore in your healing journey as well. It is the place for creation in terms of women and their life. And it's also the place of creation for life, for having babies and conceiving. We can, in amongst all of that, become very disconnected from our womb space. And like you said, it does hold a lot of emotion there. Just knowing that there's these different ways that we can start to help ourselves through this time.
And the other thing as well, I think that's very important, is go back to self-love and forgiveness, compassion, because I feel like it's such a hard path, but we can become hard on ourselves, whether we blame ourselves for not giving a child to our partner, whether we are blaming ourselves for our body not doing what it's supposed to do, whether there's a lot of things, but it's what I see over and over again. It's like shame, guilt. And yeah, what I forgot to mention, other than mind body connection, what I always come back to the first thing is self love, compassion, and forgiveness, because you can be sure that there's something that we are blaming ourselves for. And it's important to take that time to actually say you are okay. It's powerful to actually just say I love myself, forgive myself. There is actually a Hawaii, I don't know if you know, but the Hawaiian prayer is called Ho'oponopono, and it's
I think I've heard it. Yeah, I can't think of it right now, but I've heard the name.
and you just say those four words: I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. And it's like talking to your soul, right? You're talking to your higher self. And sometimes I incorporate that with tapping, but it's so much. It really gives something to your soul, what you need to do to heal your heart as well. Yeah, I think that's also very important.
Thank you for saying that too, because it is a very important part of the healing journey. And it's very hard to come back to a place of self-love and compassion after going through something so heartbreaking. And like you said, there is so much shame, so much guilt, and so much self-blame that you put on yourself that the love element is really hard to connect back to. But when we can allow ourselves to connect back to love, we can really truly give ourselves the chance of healing through our losses.
Yeah,
I feel like I could talk to you forever.
yeah, no, definitely. Me too.
Did you want to share? Is it all before I go into obviously what you do and where women can find you to reach out to? Is there anything else that we haven't covered that you wanted to cover today?
Yeah, there is something else, but I don't think we might have much more time to talk about that. So it might be for another episode. But mostly what I want to tell women is you are not broken, okay? I know loss changes you, but I also want to say that it's just about finding what it is that needs to be aligned in your mind or body and soul. And it's so important to understand as well that because grief is going to be there when we have gone through loss, it doesn't leave you, it's part of you, okay? It becomes you, but hope can coexist as well. When I work with women and I help them process loss and the grieving, and I think it's important to stay connected and honor our losses, but also bring this vision, this new vision, or it's like bring hope as well. Okay. For me, I used to think that because they can't coexist, like you can have grief, but you can still bring great gratitude to your day. It can coexist. And so, yeah, you are not broken, you are just becoming. That's what I want to say to women. And also, I think it doesn't make you strong. To be strong is also asking for help. Find your own tribe, find the people that can support you in this journey, whether it's just to listen, whether it's to help you process emotion, whether it's find the people to help you. It shouldn't be done alone. 100% should be done alone. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, and I think it's important as well, like you said, to be okay if you need support, if you need guidance, if you need help, to put your hand up and, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay
Yeah.
to find, like you said, the support that you need, whether it's one person, whether it's five people, whether it's like a whole bunch just to
Yeah.
wrap themselves around you. But it's okay to be in the space and go, I can't do this alone.
Yeah, 100%. And fertility, it's no matter which route you're taking, whether it's IVF, whether it's a medical supported, it's not just a physical. As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter if you do it naturally or with IVF or another option. It's not a physical process only. So really, I think the quicker we understand that and the quicker we involve the whole parts of us, I think the better we are. And I wish, obviously, because sometimes you just go straight to the medical, you do your blood test, you go and get your appointments, and that's it. It all stays very medical. So I think if we already prepare ourselves before that emotionally, then and also and even the tools that that I use, for example, it's not just for conception. It's then used during pregnancy. I use it as a parent now, so it's something to really help you cope with the stress of everything, just process emotion and be aware of what's going on in your mindset. So yeah, just remember it's not just a physical, as far for me anyway, I always say it's not just a physical process, it's very holistic.
Yeah, and I think, that's something that I love about what you do as well, is you bring that holistic lens to navigating that, to processing and to helping women go through losses, conception, and like you said, it's not just you're not just learning skills or as well or tools for the moment, you're learning them for your lifetime.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So did you want to share with everyone where they can, what you do, how you support, and where they can find you?
Yes, I support women that feel like there's two things, right? There's even three, but in the conception area, I support women that feel like they've done everything right medically, so they have an unexplained diagnosis. And I help them reset everything and really align mind, body, and soul. And so I have bundles and I have longer program, which is a 10 weeks program. It's called Birthing the New You. But we really go through the whole mindset, processing emotions. I do energy healing as well. We really dig into the mindset, as in what's going on in the background, belief, thoughts. We learn about the language we're using, the habits, the behaviors. So it's really like a deep thing, but it's a transformational thing program. It's not just, it is about fertility 100%, but it's also about the woman as a whole and how she feels before and after. It's about learning to coping tools. It's about reframing. I think it's very important as well to reframe and change perspective on certain things. And really, I do give a lot. Whether, as I said, I meet the client where they are. So they have tasks after. So whether it's journaling, visualization, other practices. In the longer package, I also work. There's one session just for the partner as well and for the couple, because I feel like it's very important as well. Sometimes we get disconnected and we don't even know how to rebuild that connection. So yeah, this is for the conception, and the bundle is a shorter one, but they are welcome to then dive into the longer package if they're happy with the first three sessions and want to carry on. There's another package of 6 weeks, which is just for women that have gone through losses. In that one, I really hold them where they are and just provide a safe space to grieve, to process the emotion, to connect with the baby, and to help them prepare for what the vision is for the future, whether they want to try again. As I said, again, it's a very personal thing. So whether they want to try again or whether they just want to process, and that's a big thing anyway. But we do look at the mindset as well. But that's much more a focus on what they've gone through. And I also have pregnancy support. So that would be for women that have gone through losses, or recently I've had quite a few requests on birth trauma, which is another subject. But basically, trauma due to fertility, conception, but already pregnant. And what happens is sometimes they are completely living in fear and in again survival. We know how difficult it is to get pregnant after a loss. So if they haven't processed before, they're already in a pregnancy, we really work on that, on the present moment and how we can process. I had a client recently who was terrified because of a birth trauma, birth that just went really badly for her, and she was pregnant. But she had really dark thoughts, very negative, very fearful of her health and her baby's health, of hospitals, because they obviously didn't do exactly what they were supposed to do. Anyway, we worked on that, but after that, she took back the control of her pregnancy. She felt totally. So, what happens with emotional healing as well is that we are looking at the triggers. So, for me, I had to do it for myself. For example, those words that you hear, there's no more heartbeat, or there's those things that really stay in your mind that you can't. It's PTSD. You gotta say that's what it is. And for her, it was all those pictures she would see from the birth. And so we work through that. And what happens is you create detachment from it. So we're not erasing it from our memory, it's part of us, but we are providing detachment. So when we can look back at it without having all these emotional, yeah, all those emotions coming through and recreating our reality, right? So because of that, what happened is she took back control. She hired a doula and she had a birth at home. But yeah, I think it's also important if you haven't done it the work before to while you're pregnant. That's why I also provide support during pregnancy if it's needed. And I do energy healing only sessions or EFT only sessions if that's needed. And they can all find me online. So I've got my website and I'm reachable on Instagram as well. I offer a free discovery call to see, obviously it takes if we resonate with each other, and I can also answer all the questions. So.
Beautiful. I'll make sure that everything's linked in the show notes so people can find you and see what you offer and everything like that as well. I think it's so important, the work that you do, especially in the healing aspect of women going through pregnancy loss and in that conception journey, but also in the pregnancy after loss, because we can carry through trauma. And when we start to do the healing work for ourselves, it also heals our future generations going forward as well.
That's so important. And honestly, I feel like I could even extend it to after once you had, because it happens that sometimes you are not pregnant but you've had birth trauma or anything else, a pregnancy that was quite traumatic, and then as you said, I completely believe and I see the changes if you heal yourself. It's just a dominoes effect.
Mm.
So it could even happen after you are a parent. I think healing can happen anytime, the earlier the better, but whenever you are ready. And yeah, if I can just add one more thing, is I just want to say my heart goes to all women trying to I don't like that word, trying to conceive, and it comes out of my mouth, in the process of conceiving, but going through challenges. I just want to say your story is not over after a loss, and take the time you need, reach out to people, but it's unfolding differently, but it doesn't mean it's over. So yeah, there's possibility, and yeah.
Yeah, I love that it's unfolding differently. So it's not that it is over, it just looks different to how you had originally planned it in your mind.
Hard, right? Because it's almost a grieving process to just to go past the image we had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you've said as well, unexplained infertility, pregnancy loss, it's all a loss of that dream, the vision that you had. And yeah, like you said, it's not that it's over, it's just unfolding differently. It's unfolding in a way that I guess the whole big lesson in all of it really is surrender, how we have to, because we can't control what is actually happening. How do we allow ourselves to surrender to the process and give ourselves permission to heal our bodies
Yeah.
and, like you said before, detach as well from what detach from the outcome. We want it to happen so bad, but we can't control that. So we can only control what we can in that moment. And that is us, and that is our healing, and that is going through and looking inside and understanding what we need.
Yeah, you will get so much answers just by doing that healing. And yes, I agree, it's hard. I think for someone like me as well, I don't know you, but for me who's always like to control things, not knowing the how, the when, it's insane. It's insane to put up with. But you can control how you navigate the journey, and the pen. You can control the tools you are using, the people around you. That gives a little bit of reassurance to know that there are certain things we can control, and the rest of it needs to be surrendered, as you said. Yeah, it's what it is, but it's important to know.
Not easy.
Not possible.
It's not ever anything.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're right. I was just saying it's not ever anything that you're prepared for. So to let it go is hard. And but like you said before, you're not alone going through this. There are people out there that are here to support you, people like yourself that are here to support you. So if you need to, definitely reach out and ask for that support.
And it's about trusting your body again, learning again to know you're not broken, your body's not broken. It's about
Mm.
trusting again. Go back inwards. we've said that all, so I'm not going to repeat it. But
Yeah, no,
sorry.
I appreciate you, Letitia. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
You're so welcome. And yeah, like you said, there was other things that you wanted to share, so there might be another episode on the horizon.
Yeah.
Some extra tools, knowledge, experiences that we can dive into. But I truly want to thank you for sharing your story, for sharing and using your story to do what you do, using your story to guide and support other women that have gone through what you've gone through, and bridging the gaps that are needed.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you to all that have listened in. If this episode was valuable to you, I invite you to leave a review on Apple Podcasts, and I look forward to supporting you on the next episode. Thank you for listening in with me today. I hope you found this episode helpful. If you did, I would absolutely love to hear from you. Take a screenshot of this episode, share it to social media, and tag me at Institute of Healing_PL. I love seeing what is resonating with you right now. If you want to chat further, I invite you to connect with me through Instagram. Head over and follow my Instagram account, send me a DM, and let's open the communication. If you want to know more about how you can be the support for others, head to the show notes and fill out the application form for the Pregnancy Loss Practitioner certification. I want to also note here that what I share within the episodes is not medical advice. If you need further support, please consult your doctor. Thank you again. Much love to you. Be gentle with yourself, and I look forward to supporting you on the next episode.